All right, this Canadian team on cloud 9, and right at the top of that cloud 9 is Michael Janik after that performance.
Oh, it was a great performance by him last week, and just a great day for the whole Canadian team. Thomas Grandy finishing well, and we're seeing this new generation of Canadians coming on with John Kuchera, Manny Osborne, Paradis, Kelly Vanderbeek, and two of them are wearing the red leader bibs, which signifies that you are the leader in the World Cup circuit, both Kuchera and Michael Janik. So just a great day for the Canadians.
Once again, that race a week ago, the men's slalom at Beaver Creek, which gets us caught up to today with no snow anywhere. The men will be racing next weekend, and we'll have it for you in Val Gardena. But an update on the snow conditions there, Brian, because it's not great.
You can see a little double jump there coming into the Mauer section. Here's the very steep and icy Mauer blind section coming in and blind going out, and another big jump, and you get a great shot of the camel bumps right there, 2 gates ahead. Just a complete wall in the first jump, which is here. And then you keep a stiff leg, pop over that second jump, land on the back side of the third, and that is big air, my friends. About 140 feet in the air. And into the Chaslat section, another little double jump there, land on the backside of that. German's done it well. And it's so extremely bumpy this year. These Volkswagens that I've said before, they've buried in this section of the course. I think they've turned them into school buses. It's just massive. These guys don't seem like they can tuck so much, and then they're in the air the whole time, and then a little time to breathe down here at the bottom. But when you're going 125 kilometers an hour down here, that's a tough thing to do with those legs screaming.
So there is Andrej German of Slovenia. Never made the podium in his career, and it's tough, always tough when you're first one down the mountain. He'll be happy basically just with the top 10 one of these days, as his results this year have been outside that. Here's 26-year-old Marco Sullivan of the United States. No podiums for him in his career either. Cracked into the top 10 in the downhill at Beaver Creek a couple of weeks back with a 10th place finish.
That time by German, a couple seconds faster than the fastest training run time by Didier yesterday. So this course is quick. Sullivan's going to like that. He's on new equipment this year, changed to Nordica, and he's had some tough luck. 3 years ago, pulled a freestyle move off the bottom jump in Beaver Creek. Ended up falling and tearing his knee, tore his knee the next year as well, and last season was his comeback year. And if there's a guy you want to cheer for on the U.S. team aside from Bodie Miller, this is the kid. Nice and smooth over the camels. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to hear their feet and boots and skis land on the snow. They want to land very softly so they're not throwing away anytime. A little late coming into the Chaslat. Seems to skid his skis sideways a little bit, but it's looking pretty good so far.
See how he does compared to German, who was first through. Sullivan, well, he's got a pretty good lead there. Half a second for Marco Sullivan. A very strong American team these days. Even with the retirement of Darren Ralphs, they seem to be bringing in young guys from all over the place. Sullivan, one of those.
He had some trouble in training, fell at the bottom, missed a couple of gates, and putting it together on race day. That's what you have to do as a youngster.
And so Marco Sullivan early on, to be sure, but he takes the lead by 26/100ths of a second from Andrej German. Sullivan on top right now, but we've just seen a couple of skiers. One guy we won't ski anymore is the legendary Christian Gadina, who was a forerunner here today, Brian.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. 17 years ago, he raced his first race here. This is his swan song on the same equipment he used ages ago. You can see the old helmet, the old goggles, the old suit that he barely squeezed into, but what a run from Gadina, the legend.
World Cup ski racing on Rogers Sportsnet.
Paradis on course. You've heard from him. Now let's watch him.
Huh? Your heart is beating more nervous now than I was on the course. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Really good off the top jump there. The thing that the coaches are trying to do with Manny is get him closer in the training runs. He was only 57th in the first training run. Actually used the wrong lens in his goggles, so he couldn't see anything. There was a bunch of flat light, and he had to take it easy, but it's hard to make up that 3 or 4 or 5 seconds that you have to ski faster if you're that far behind in training. It's like if you're driving your car, trying to drive at 10 kilometers an hour faster and turn into your driveway. It takes time to adapt to that, and with only 2 training runs, that makes it difficult. But Osborne Paradis looks good here today.
Well, he talked about dreaming of getting onto the top spot at the podium. Well, he's getting close. He was second in Lake Louise, and he's all over the place here. But a fast time coming right now.
Well, and that's the thing. When you're all over the place, you know you have a fast time. That's how you have to ski, on the edge, flying over the jumps. You want to still be nice and smooth and clean, but I can tell you, when you fly further over the jumps and you haven't training, you know you're going fast, and that just inspires you to go faster.
Osborne Paradis now, the last few seconds of his race. Sullivan had the early lead there. Osborne Paradis going to challenge that. Not quite, but he's in second spot right now, wearing bib number 11. Coming down 11th, he's moved into second.
You can see how tired he was. Marco Sullivan looking on there. Osborne Paradis almost buckled his legs in the finish because of all the movement that you have to make on this course.
You're watching Steve Nyman. Despite the font there, it said Francois Bourque, but this is indeed Steve Nyman of the United States, the 24-year-old wearing bib number 12.
And he fell first training run right off that jump that you just saw out of the picture, off of looping. Had the wrong direction, way too far to the left. Ended up hurting his hamstring a little bit. But those quads are definitely more important than those hammies are when you're skiing down this Sasselong run.
Nyman at 6'4" is the tallest member of the U.S. ski team, and he's also coming off a third in the downhill at Beaver Creek. He's in form as well. We talk about the Canadians, but Nyman's in form also, Brian.
A little out of form off the camels. That was a great shot, great perspective to see how far they do fly. And these bigger guys seem to do well here in Val Gardena. It is flatter up top and a lot of flat section at the bottom of the course. But those long legs help these bigger guys in here to absorb all these jumps. Nice and smooth through the Chasselat. Great skiing.
Steve Nyman with a terrific time there, has never won on the World Cup circuit, but it looks like he could be in contention today with this run.
Just like a jet down there with that snow flying up behind him. Very high speeds down here.
Oh, Nyman is good. He is quick. Almost a half second faster than Marco Sullivan. And so 24-year-old Steve Nyman of the United States takes the lead.
And you can see him here on the camel jumps. This is how you get a perspective of how far it is. There's a takeoff, there's the landing, there's Steve Nyman in the air. Look at how small the guys look, 140 feet. Pretty smooth landing. Got bent out of shape in the air a little bit, but that's a long ways to travel through the air when you're 20 feet up in the air.
Now it's time to see Francois Bourque of New Richmond, Quebec, 22 years old. So many of these Canadians are young that are doing the damage in the World Cup circuit this year. Bourque has not really broken through just yet this year. He starts 14th today.
And he was really disappointed yesterday in the Super G, finishing 11th, if you can believe that. Disappointment for Bourque. That's how good these Canadians are now. They expect to be at least in the top 10, if not on the podium, like Johnny Kuchera was. And Bourque made one really big mistake that killed him at the bottom. And he was extremely upset with that. Looking for a little redemption here today, even though the downhill's not one of his favorite events. Not a great interval time there, 1.66 back. That's a long way, but this is where Francois Bourque can make up some time in these turns. A great technical skier, probably focusing a little bit more on the GS in Alta Badia. That'll happen tomorrow just across the valley. Over the pass you have to travel for that one, where he was so great last year there.
This is Francois Bourque. The other Canadians still to come are Eric Gay, John Kuchera, Jeffrey Fritsch, Jan Hudek, and Vincent Lavoie.
And he did make up some time through the Chazlat section, but I'm afraid that 1.66 is going to be too much of a deficit to overcome.
So there is Bork. Yes, that will not do it today.
Not bad, though. He only lost 100th of a second from just after the Camels down. And see the frustration and disappointment with Bork.
So Bork is finished 14th right now, but after just 15 skiers, so he will get pushed down the pecking order, no question about that. Manuel Osborne Paradis with a good finish in third right now, trailing a pair of Americans, Steve Nyman and Marco Sullivan. More of the men's downhill, the classic from Val Gardena, in just a moment. From today, as we switch over the valley, as Brian alluded to, in the men's giant slalom at Alta Badia. Great success on this course for Canadians in the past, most recently Francois Bork with a third-place finish there in 06. As we go back to the top of the mountain here at Val Gardena, this is Axel Svindal celebrating his 24th birthday today.
Look how aggressive he is right out of the start.
That's good.
Bearing those shoulders as low as possible, trying to gain some speed up here. That's where you need to make a great turn, that big left-hander, right-footed turn into those two jumps and over looping, where you can carry some speed onto this flat section of the course. Now you can see the shade coming into factor here. That always happens in Val Gardena. Later on in the race, that shade comes in. Sometimes the wind picks up. You don't know if it's a headwind. You don't know if it's a tailwind, but you just cross your fingers in your tuck and hope for the best. And Svindal's not breaking out of it. Good speed, but 0.3 of a second behind.
Won the downhill at RA last year. He's had success in downhill. In fact, he was 5th in the Super G here yesterday, so he was close to the podium there.
And he's an all-rounder who's going to have it tough over the next week. Had to race Super G yesterday. Has to race downhill right now, today. GS tomorrow, slalom Monday, Wednesday, Thursday he's got a Super G and another GS in Hinterstoder. So they're just packing these races in for this week because of the lack of snow in Europe and trying to get as many events in as possible. And it's difficult and tiring for each of these all-rounders.
Steve Nyman of the United States continues to hold the lead as Axel Svindal is approaching the final turn, and he'll bring it on home here now. Nyman's time to beat. Svindal won't do it. Close, 4th place, half a second back to Svindal.
You can see him in the Chazlat section right here. Way up in the air, you want to double that jump, and when you land, you have to clear that knoll. You can see him land right on the top. You want to land just after, right about there, and then work the backside of that roll so you can gain some speed in the Chazlat. Svindal didn't approach that section of the course as he would have envisioned in all his visualization prior to the race, so a little disappointing run from the big guy.
Meanwhile, here is 30-year-old Antoine Deneria of France. And here's a guy to watch out for on this course. He won here in 03. Oh, he won here in 03 and 04. He's not going to win here today.
Wow, and he was fabulous in training, 6th and 3rd. Not sure what happened there, but obviously he lost his ski. You're just not sure how quite yet. And he's trying to break out of his funk after that big fall in Åre, Sweden last year, where he had that concussion. Let's see what happens in the replay. Nice and smooth over that. Whoa! Man, what a recovery.
Boy, at that speed, Brian, how did he hang on to that?
Unbelievable. That'll tweak your knee, definitely. You can see just caught that right ski on the inside edge, and it popped off very quickly, probably quicker than normal, but what athleticism there to be able to stand up and do that looping jump over it on one ski.
Okay, here is Eric Gay now. We've talked about him off the top. He's had great success in this course. 3rd here last year, 2nd in a pair of Super Gs last year as well. So he knows how to handle this course, but this season he hasn't found it just yet.
No, and I talked to him yesterday, and he said he's having a few problems. He didn't really allude to anything specific, and I said, what is it, equipment? What is it, technique? And he said, yeah, a little bit of both. And I think it's a little bit of equipment and a lot of mental stuff going on right now. When you have a fall and it knocks you out 3 years ago for the year, like Eric Gay did on this course, that's tough. And then to see your brother have the same sort of spill, same sort of knee injury, and have to bounce back and charge down the hill, that makes it tough. The coach said he thinks he's affected by it on the second training run, and let's see if he can put it behind him here today, but 1.36 out. Now, not the best day.
You mentioned the coach because there's also been a coaching change for him, correct?
Exactly. Burkhard Schaffer is no longer around. Lionel Finance, who set the Super G course yesterday, which John Kuchera was pretty happy about, has taken over that position. He used to coach for the French team, and he's not as hard as Burkhard was. Burkhard's a very hard guy, makes the guys work extremely hard. I just can't tell you how hard enough. And Eric responded to that kind of work. Maybe that's just not working for him this year.
Having your guys set the course is no advantage?
Oh, it's a huge advantage, but maybe not for Eric so much yesterday.
Well, and not so much today as his poor form continues here. 11th right now with a lot of skiers still to come. And so Eric Gay has some things to get sorted out. Terrific skier with some terrific results, and he'll be back, but he'll have to wait and ski another day. As we have a look at the leaderboard here with Manuel Osborne-Paradis in 3rd, Gay in 14th spot. After 22 skiers at the men's downhill in Val Gardena. And we'll continue with more of our coverage of the World Cup Alpine Circuit in just a moment. Watching the men's downhill, the classic from Val Gardena, Italy. We are partway through. Young American Steve Nyman has the lead time right now as we go up top. Out of the gate now, the veteran Swiss skier, 32-year-old Didier Couch, a 5-time winner on the World Cup Alpine Circuit. But Brian, the Swiss are still looking for people to take over from the elder statesman Didier Couch.
Well, and he's not letting anybody do that because he's the guy who's finished in the top 10 in all 4 races that he's competed in this year. And he's on those head skis that just seem to be rocking and rolling in downhill right now. Especially in both training runs for him. He won both of those. 157.09 in his second training run, and Nyman sitting at 156.52. So if he can find half a second in this race day, which he should be able to do considering how well he's done in training, that'll be another fantastic result for Couch.
Couch has been good in the downhill season this year. In fact, he's been good in both speed disciplines, top 10s in 4 races.
Just really nice through the Mauer, lifting his heels up in the air, switching his feet in the air so he can land on his other edge. That's beautiful skiing by Didier Couch. Look at that, tucking in the air. This is a guy who's skiing with a lot of confidence right now. Says he has to remain focused, has to respect the mountain, but doesn't fear it at all. And whoa, a couple tenths behind. Beautiful. You can see landed right in the backside of that roll, moved into that right-hander turn. Got to stand on your left foot now and absorb those jumps and hope you've done it well, and he has, picking up even more time.
A second-place finish at the downhill in Beaver Creek. 4th here in the Super G at Val Gardena yesterday. Didier Couch looking to get to the podium again. Steve Nyman on top. Couch is all over. It means he's fast. This will be close. Second place by the tiniest of margins, 2/100ths of a second. Great run from Didier Couch. As you mentioned, Brian, he had it going, and he's skiing with confidence. You called that one.
And his classic ski flip move, but you can see him over the camels here. Absolutely perfect. Look at this, tucking in mid-air, going that fast, going that high, going that far. Just not close enough, only 200ths back for Didier Couch, but a heck of a run and a nice little ski toss there at the end.
Meanwhile, on course, 34-year-old Herman Meyer, a 53-time winner in the World Cup circuit. Never won here at Val Gardena, though.
Yeah, that's surprising. One of the few he has never won. He seems to have won everywhere, but not here in Val Gardena. I just don't think it's technical enough for Herman Maier. He demands the exceptionally difficult courses. This one is tough. You spend a lot of time in the air, but not a lot of time in those big Super G-like turns that he loves to ski and seems to excel at. Big flight off the beginning of the Mauer. Looks like he's going for it. See that big wall, that camber jump staring you right in the face? Oh, and he's a ways out.
Not a single podium for Herman Maier yet this year. His best result was 4th in the Super G to start the season back at Lake Louise.
Whoa. Back on his heels through the entrance in the Chaz lot. Thrown around a little bit. But it just seems a little too stiff to be able to excel in these big bumpy turns.
Maier's 26th out of the gate. Steve Nyman continues to lead. Didier just put in a great run to tuck into second spot by just 2/100ths of a second. Maier, not bad, picked up some time, 6/10ths back. He's looking at a top 10 at least for now.
And he's looking at his equipment. Those head skis have been rocking, and the Fishers have as well, but the Atomic guys seem to be struggling a little bit. And here's the guy who switched ahead this year. See what he can do after that win yesterday.
Getting deep into the field now. This is skier number 27, Bodie Miller.
We're happy with you, ladies and gentlemen. We introduce you to the Super G winner from the United States, Bodie Miller!
Well, you can hear the introduction for Bodie Miller 20 seconds into his race. The winner in the Super G yesterday, winner of the downhill at Beaver Creek. Off the pace just a little bit here.
He skied so well yesterday, just really clean, smooth, smart race from Bodie Miller. Said he managed every risk, didn't take too many unnecessary risks right now. So just a great run from the fan favorite Bodie Miller yesterday, and he's got the lead now.
Don't count out Bodie Miller, still with 30 or 35 seconds to go here. He's lost the lead by 5/100ths, so in and out. Well, that's going to be tough now.
Well, there's a mistake you just can't make. Got way late in the entrance to the Chaz lot. Barely made that red gate coming over the knoll. And I'm afraid that's going to cost him a lot, over 8/10ths of a second. Do we see this every week from this guy or what?
Well, it's either win or make a big mistake, crash out, or at least a big mistake that takes you out of contention, and that appears to be what's happened here because he was going very well through the first half of his race, and he still brought it back somewhat, but outside the top 10, 8/10ths back after that big problem in the middle.
Yeah, that was close. Whew. He just got by in that one, pulled the Olympic Super G move that he was known for, that ski way up in the air, and that's a disappointing run from Miller.
So Steve Nyman continues to lead. Didier you saw his run in second spot. Marco Sullivan, the other American, down to third. Manny Osborne-Paradis continues to hold down a solid spot here, 4th in this field, and we are just about through the top 30. We'll continue from Val Gardena in just a moment. Wait for you, December 23rd, it's the men's giant slalom from Alta Badia at a course that has been good to Canadians over the last couple of years. Please join us for that one. That's next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern Time here on Sportsnet. Out of the gate now, the veteran Austrian 34-year-old Fritz Strobel skiing 28th. A 9-time winner on the World Cup circuit. Never made it to the podium here, however, just like his teammate Herman Maier.
Yeah, he's been fourth 4 times here. Wow, you can see those shadows creeping way up onto the flat section of the Saslong course. That makes it tough to see all the bumps and rolls, but Strobel's been here so much he can ski this run blindfolded. It's like he was skiing blindfolded in training. 15th, both training runs. Definitely not the sweet cat that we're normally used to is seeing really nice in the air over the camel jumps.
Continues to be Nyman, Booth, and Sullivan in that order. 2 Americans on the podium. And keep in mind, no American has ever won this race. And we're running out of competition here for Nyman.
Looks like Strobel's following Bodie Miller's track, skiing a very wide line. It's a little surprising. He doesn't usually make big mistakes like that on race day. Made a couple yesterday in the Super G where he was 13th. And I'm afraid he might be back close to that position today. He just can't make up that time down here in the flat section of the course.
You can lose time, though, as Strobel probably did right there. 4/10 back, but he's still in 3rd spot. So in the end, a pretty good result for Fritz Strobel, and perhaps the first time for him to be on the podium. Speaking of the podium, watch out for this guy. Marco Buchel won here last year. He won the opening downhill of this season in Lake Louise, 7th at Beaver Creek. Look out.
And it was a shortened downhill last year that he won. So he wants to prove to everybody that, hey, I can win on the classics when it does start right from the top. And he was skiing with a broken rib in Lake Louise and in Beaver Creek. That is healed now, so it doesn't bother him anymore. And good thing, because you sure do take a pounding on this course.
Has some work to do. Nyman continues to be the fastest. Let's check this one out. Buchel, about 3/10 back. But as you said earlier, Brian, I guess it's tough to pick up time at the bottom part of the course.
You can make it up in here a little bit in the Chazla, but on that bottom section, that's really tough. Your serviceman has to nail that wax on the bottom part of the course, and that's what the service people pull their hair out, trying to match it up with the top flats and that 32nd of bottom flats right down here. Because that snow temperature changes a lot, the conditions change. It's still artificial snow everywhere, but some of the servicemen have difficulty matching up the proper wax at the top and the bottom.
Buchel likely too far back to do any damage here. Yes, indeed. Top 10 right now for him.
Yeah, he's close. 5/10 of a second isn't a lot. He knows it.
We are down to the last of the top 30. This is Michael Valkoffer of Austria. Won the Super G here a couple of years ago. No podiums yet for this 31-year-old yet this season.
Whoa. Really tentative going into that section. Seemed to lose his left ski, his left edge. Kind of was in the high stable tuck. And 6/10, that's surprising for Valkoffer. One of the bigger guys in the circuit, like Nyman. Bigger guys usually tend to win on this course, like Didier did, like Rob Boy did back in the 80s. Whoa, Valkoffer's all over the place. Runner up here 4 times. Doesn't seem to be informed today.
Well, not really informed this season, although he was 5th in Beaver Creek. But here's a guy who used to win a lot of downhill races over the last few years, especially in 05, 06. He won a ton of races.
And he's just definitely not on it today. Not sure what's gone on in his head from top to bottom. It looks like nothing because he's all over the place.
He could end up a full second back here, depending on what he's able to do down at the bottom. But 3/4 of a second at that point won't get it done for Michael Valkoffer.
Still going to get you into the top 10, but this guy expects to win every single week he races.
Maybe he did pick up a little bit down at the bottom. Well, no, dropped back to nearly a full second back. 16th for Valkoffer. Bit of a cynical smile from Valkoffer after that result as Nyman continues to hold down top spot.
I think Valkoffer is just happy to make it down that run, but the fellows are sure cheering that he made a few mistakes like he did there in the Mauer. Just seemed to keep losing his edge.
The media people
Not balanced at all. Way out in the soft snow and way all over the place for Volkoffer. That's unexpected.
And so Steve Nyman of the U.S. continues to lead. Kush in second, Strobel third. Mark O'Sullivan pushed to fourth. Manuel Osborne Paradis, the top Canadian, in fifth. And we have several more Canadians still to come as we continue on now with our coverage of the men's downhill from Val Gardena, Italy. You are looking at John Kuchera of Calgary. We talked about him at the top of the show. What a terrific season it has been, especially in Super G, with a first and a third, and he leads the Super G standings. The results haven't been the same in downhill, however.
Well, and he excels on downhills that favor the smaller guys a little more, like Darren Ralphs. And Kuchera's just got a beautiful touch. Just nice and smooth. You can see how well he does, keeping his feet on the ground, staying nice and clean. You don't see any snow flying up, and that's what he did yesterday extremely well. Just skied a very smooth, smart, clean race.
So this Nyman excels, he being a big guy, not so much for a smaller guy like Kuchera.
That's right, and I think that's why he struggled in training a little bit, but oh my goodness.
That was nearly a disaster.
Wow. We saw Patrick Yarbin go down there yesterday, the Swedish racer, right at the bottom, and whoa. Yeah, you got to wait from one there, Johnny.
Did he ever. All right, here's a youngster we haven't seen before, 22-year-old Jeffrey Frisch of Mont Tremblant. Skied the Super G yesterday, finished 52nd.
Yeah, and he's an interesting story. He's born in Italy. His parents are from there. And his mother's Canadian, so he gained a passport and moved to Mount Tremblant, trained there, did very well in the NORAM circuit last year, and they had to pick him up because he was doing so well. And he's made his mark on the World Cup in the first couple of training runs here. He's happy to be back in his home country, but racing for Canada now is where Jeffrey Frisch wants to make his mark.
Jeffrey Frisch well back, more than 3 seconds behind the pace set by Steve Nyman of the United States.
And the coaches say sometimes he just has bad tactics. They need to calm him down a little bit, make him slow down and relax and take his time, and that's what they're trying to teach some of the youngsters like Frisch.
Nyman is through, or pardon me, Frisch is through in 39th place right there, well back. And we still have 2 Canadians to come. This is 25-year-old Jan Hudek of Calgary.
Jan's been out with an injury over the last couple of years. Whoa, way back off the camels. Hurt his knee in Val d'Isère and he's doing extremely well, but that's a great thing about Jan Hudek. He's always bounced back with great results after an injury, and that's not too bad at the interval. 1.48 out. Considering it's his first time here, he's only been down the course twice.
Well, 15th in the Super G yesterday, not that shabby for a guy like Jan Hudek.
No, that's excellent for him, starting way back from number 48. He has been a great Super G skier and a good downhiller, just got to stay away from those injuries.
Hudek starting 51st in this race today, and he will be indeed well back of Steve Nyman. 2.39, so somewhere in the 30s, 33rd for now is where Jan Hudek will finish this race. And finally, 29-year-old Vincent Lavoie from Longueuil, Quebec.
When we talk about Hudek with injuries, Vincent Lavoie, terrible injuries, broke his left leg twice, actually, his right leg once, and he is making a remarkable comeback. I can't believe that this guy's even skiing anymore, let alone downhill in Val Gardena. He's got a tough time putting pressure on that left ski, and there you see it right there. That's disappointing for Vincent Lavoie, but hats off to him, because remarkable comeback and the courage to hang around when you have a young baby at home as well. It says a lot about a guy who's passionate about the sport. You see, got a little late, a little too much air coming into the Chasselat section like Bodie Miller, and wasn't able to pull it off.
And so it's done. Steve Nyman of Provo, Utah wins his first ever World Cup race, and in fact, it's the first time an American has ever won here. Didier Couche second, Fritz Strobel in third. Emmanuel Osborne-Paradis, good result for him, finishing in the top 10. He finishes fifth. There's the rest of the Canadian story. Lots of Canadians getting the starts these days. That's the best news of all. The winning run is brought to you by General Motors, proud partner of the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games.
And what a job from American Steve Nyman, just blasting out of the start, skiing exceptionally well, letting things go, letting things rock, letting that big frame and gravity use it to its advantage, and just a beautiful day for the American Nyman.
I'm so excited. No better place to do it on a hill like this, well, except at home, Beaver Creek, but this hill is awesome. Just the terrain moving all the way down, and it's one of the big five. I love it. I'm so happy.
So after 3 races, this is what the standings look like in the downhill. Remember, 1 was postponed because of poor snow conditions. Didier Couche leads, Steve Nyman in second, Manuel Osborne-Paradis, the top Canadian in the downhill discipline, in 4th spot after 3 races. Overall, let's have a look at what it looks like. Axel Svindal in first, Didier Couche second. John Kuchera is the top Canadian there based on his Super G results. He is in 6th place for the overall.